Hello students, basic concept in geometry. We are looking the revision lectures. We are taking the revision of the first lesson, and under this lesson we have revised that how to find out the distance, how to read the coordinates, then some of the basic concepts in the geometry, that is the line segment, Bray line, congruent segment, properties of congruent segment, midpoint segment. Then we had seen comparison of segment, perpendicularity of the segments or rays, and then distance of a point from a line. This point we had seen. Now the next point of the revision is the conditional statements and the converse. Okay, so under this, the statement which be written in if then form. Okay, in the statement, if they are using if and then that statements are called as a if then, are called as a conditional statement. For example, here one statement is given, and one more thing is that the statement which follows if, the statement which follows if is called as, which follows if is called a antecedent, and the statement which follows the part of a statement which follows then it is called as a consequent. For example, consider the statement. Here it is, the statement is given, the diagonals of rhombus are perpendicular bisectors of each other. The diagonals of rhombus are perpendicular bisectors of each other. So if we convert this statement into the if then form, then that statement is called as a conditional statement. And for example, the diagonals of rhombus are perpendicular bisectors. So here we have to add if and then. So how we can add? If the diagonal, here if we add if the diagonals of rhombus, okay, are, if the given, 1 minute. So here till that we can take the what, perpendicular, means here the given quadrilateral is a rhombus. If the given quadrilateral is a rhombus, then their diagonals are perpendicular bisectors of each other. What I said, that if the given quadrilateral is a rhombus, then the diagonals are perpendicular bisectors of each other. So here the statement which follows if, is called as a antecedent. So we the part of here it is if and here it is then. Okay, therefore the given quadrilateral is a rhombus is antecedent of the statement, and thence after its diagonals are perpendicular bisectors of each other is the consequent. And we have converted the given statement into if then form, and that's why this statement is called as a conditional statement. Okay, this conditional statement incites the part which follows then, that is antecedent, if we are taking as a consequent, and the part which follows if, that is consequent, if we are taking as an antecedent, then the given statement is called as a it is called as a converse of the statement. Okay, so here we will see, first of all, if the antecedent and consequent of the given statement are interchanged, we change the places, means then given quadrilateral is rhombus, if we are taking after then and its diagonals are perpendicular bisectors of each other, we have to take before then, otherwise for it after if, then the statement form is called as a converse of it. If the conditional statement is true, for example, how we can write this? If the diagonals of a given quadrilaterals are perpendicular bisectors of each other, then the given quadrilateral is a rhombus, is it's a converse. If the conditional statement is true, means sometimes conditional statements are true but its converse are not necessary to true. Okay, so here conditional statement written, its converse just now I told you, if the diagonals of quadrilateral are perpendicular bisectors of each other, then it is a rhombus. That is the, means for this both, for the both statements, means conditional statement and converse, both are true. But some statements are there. If a number is a prime, then it is even or odd. If the number is a number is prime number, then it is even or it is odd. This is the statement, conditional statement. Now here what we have to do, we have to change the places of it, and for that what we have to do here antecedent is a this part. Okay, this is antecedents part that I underline here, forwards then, and there afterwards then, that is consequent is here, converse. So here we have to take the consequent at a antecedent place and antecedent at a converse place. Okay, so if a number is a even or odd, so consequent I here to go as a antecedent. If a number is a even or odd, then it is prime, or then it is a prime, then it is a prime. Okay, so here for this conditional statement, the statement is correct, but for converse inside, as you know that only one number is prime, even prime number, and that is 2. So this statement is false for 4, 6, 8 and all numbers. Okay, and that's why the converse is not true. Understand that statement it is given above, that is the statements in the statement and the converse are true, but some statements are there, there what converse is may be false but statement is true. Okay, and for that here they gave you some of the postulates of the Euclid. Euclid is a scientist, and he said that the infinite number of lines are passing from a single point. Okay, that we had seen. Suppose this is the point, and infinite numbers of lines are passing from the single point. That I shown you how it was. If you see here, I will show you there are number of lines are passing from a single point. Okay, I shown you that also, but one more time just see here. If you see, if you are trying to draw the line, we can draw the infinite number of lines passing from a single point. You will notice that that statement is true. Okay, now okay, understood. So what I said, that infinite numbers of lines are passing from the single point, that statement it is a postulate. There is a one and only line passing through the 2 points. Okay, understood. First postulate, infinite number of lines are passing from a single point. Now secondly, here what they told you, the how many lines passing from a 2 points. If I will draw here 2 points, okay, suppose this is 1 point and this is 1 point, and if I will trying to draw the line, then you will see here one line is passing from a two distinct points. Then second, it is the circle of given radius can be drawn taking any point at as a center. For example, suppose circle I have to draw, then here I can draw same radius. Suppose this is a radius of 2 centimeter. This is also radius of 2 centimeter. You can draw by taking any point as a center. You can draw the what circle. Understand? Now, and its center may be A, B, C are different. Then all the right angles are congruent to each other. This statement is correct. The reason behind it is that as you know that this angle, if this is a right angle, it is congruent to this right angle, because you can draw anywhere, and if its measure of angle is always 90. You know that the right angle means what? Its measure is always 90 degree, and that's why you draw anywhere this angle, you will notice that its angle is 90 degree. Next point is if two interior angles are formed on one side of a transversal. Okay, so here it is, suppose this is if two interior angles formed by one side of a transversal of two lines add up, means if we add it, and if its a sum is what, how much, 180 degree, then otherwise add up, then less than two right angles, then the lines are, what happens, they are intersect each other. For example, suppose I will draw here one line. For this I shown you already, but then also again I am going to taking the revision. So this is one line and that is one line. I drawn it little bit what slanting that line. So if I will draw this, if you will notice here, these angles measures are less than how much they told you, 180. Suppose this measure is 90 degree and measure of this angle is 70 degree. So these lines are intersect forward. How? That we will see by increasing the length of this segment. Suppose we will extend this line here from this point. Wait. Okay, I have extended this line. Now this line also I will extend. So you will notice that they intersect each other at one point. They intersect each other at one point. If we extend this, so he said that if it's a sum, means which sum they told you, the sum of these two angles. Suppose if you see here, I told you this is 90 and 70. 90 plus 70, how much it is? 160. And sum of two right angle is how much? 90 and 90. Means how much it is there? 180. So this 160 is less than 180, and then these lines are intersecting each other after some interval. Okay, that is the Euclid's postulate. And then afterwards he proved some. These are the activities we can do, and we can understand that these are correct or wrong. But some are there, those are we cannot prove biologically, and those are called as theorems. Theorems have a proof. Okay, and theorems are of two proofs are of two types, that is direct and indirect proof. So for that, this is the first theorem of your geometry, and in that what we have to, that for that the opposite angles formed by two intersecting lines are equal in measure. So that is the first theorem. So what we have to show that these opposite angles, means AOD, this angle AOD this angle AOD is congruent to COB. That we have to prove. Otherwise AOC is congruent to DOC. For that, simple logics we have to use for this. And what is the logic? Just now I told you, given how it is there, the statement which follows is the given and or the opposite angles formed by two intersecting lines. So which two lines are intersected here? AB and CD. So AB, CD intersect each other at point O. So between us is how it is there, A dash O dash B, D dash O dash C. Okay, now we have to prove that these angles are congruent, that I already told you. And how we can show that these angles are congruent to each other? So AOC and BOC. If you think about this, these two angles are a linear pairs of angle. So AOC plus COB is equal to how much it will come? 180. Next, what we have to do here, we have to take this BOC and this angle. Which angle? BOC and BOD. Okay, these two angles measure is also how much? 180, because they are also in a straight line. Now if you see here, angle COB is common in both the pairs BOC. Okay, so here if we add these both are 180s, then if we show its RHS is 180, that's why LHS is also same. So AOC plus BOC we wrote it here, and BOC plus BOD we wrote it here, and which is the common angle, it get cancels. So what is remain? AOC is congruent to BOD. So that is the first proof that we had seen. And indirect proof inside we had seen that indirect proof inside we have to, what we have to do, whatever statement is given, it is true actually, but we have to take it as a wrong. Okay, and we have to prove that whatever our assumption is, it is wrong, and that's why the statement is correct. It is a general way of solving the indirect proofs. So here statement, the prime number greater than 2 is odd. That we know that only 2 is the even prime number, and other numbers are all even numbers are divisible by 2. So the conditional statement, how it is there, if P is a prime number greater than 2, it is odd. That we have to, that is the conditional statement. So given inside what we have to write, P is a prime number greater than 2, and 1 and P are the only factors. Okay, as you know that prime number definition, it is divisible only in number itself and 1. So we have to prove that P is an odd number. So for that, what we have to do, let us suppose P is not an odd number. Actually it is odd number. okay. But we have to take it as a odd number. It is a even number. It is not odd n number, means it is even number. Even numbers are divisible by 2, so divisors of p is 2. But it is given that p is prime number greater than 2, means which are the greater than even numbers are there which are greater than 2, that is 2, 4, 6, 8, all are the numbers, okay. So here we are saying that p is greater than 2, it is given, okay. And here we are saying p is a prime number greater than 2, and 1 and p are only the divisors. But for even number, which is the divisor? 2 is the divisor, okay. So the statements, this p is a, what they told you, divisor of 2, and here we are saying p is divisor of 2, means that p is divisible by 2, and 1 and p are only factors of the only divisors of p. So these two statements are what happens, they are contradictory, so our assumption is wrong. In that way, the indirect proofs are there that we have to solve, okay. So today we have completed the first lessons, what revision we had taken, and it's a reduced syllabus. I will send you, and according to that reduced syllabus, okay, which was reduced this for this year, okay, according to it you have to do the study. I took all the revision because in next year it will be useful for you, but this year some part may be cut from this, and that I will tell you, send you in the send you, and then you can just find out from this, and then you will notice that, okay. So do the study for unit test, okay, and thank you. And tomorrow we will see the next lesson, that is the parallel line. It's a revision we will take, okay. And then first and second lesson is there for you in the unit test, and you have to, we will take the parallel lines revision tomorrow, okay. So thank you.